again. You know who I am. And I appreciate that so much, and I think we could all stand up and just start going over the years and just reminding each other of what God has done for us, and just the ways that He's let us know that He is close and that He is aware. And I don't know if my sister has shared this, and it's just a little thing, but it's a big thing. Even with this whole house move that they're going through, God has shown up in that, and He's shown up just in me being here during the process, because as you know, a lot of times I come in the winter. And this year I didn't do that because mainly because of them preparing to sell their house, and they had so much going on, and we saw each other in December, and I said, if you know when you think you might be ready to sell the house and move, I'll try to see if I can make plans to do that, but I have to choose my vacation time in advance. And so finally, I think it was maybe a month or a month and a half ago, she said, you just need to come. We don't know when we're going to sell the house. Just come see us. And so we picked a date. We talked about it. I got the time off work. And she said, we don't know if the house will be sold at that time or not, but we'll just roll with it. Whatever happens, happens. And so we had talked about it. I got the time off, and I looked at plane tickets, but I didn't make the reservation. And then it was on a Saturday. I thought, oh wait, I need to go ahead and make that reservation, or the tickets are going to go up. I need to go ahead and book it. So I went and I booked the ticket, and the day I booked the ticket, I didn't know this, and she didn't know I booked the ticket that day, but that's when they got an offer on their house. And it just so happened that the closing was the dates that I was going to be here. And like I said, it's a little thing, but it's a big thing, because there's no way we could have planned that. And God just made Himself real to let us know, hey, I see you, I know your needs, and I'm in control, and I just really appreciate the Lord and for the things that He does for us.
Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. To me, these verses mean that God will always be there for me, and when I need His help, He'll be there with me. Psalm 15, 1 through 4, and 16, 2 through 3. Lord, who shall abide in Thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in the holy hill, in Thy holy hill? He that walketh uprightly, and worketh righteous, and speaketh the truth in his heart. He that backbiteth not with his tongue, nor doth evil to his neighbor, nor up a reproach against his neighbor, in whose eyes a vile person is contemned. But he honoreth them that fear the Lord. He that sweareth to his own hurt and changeth not. O my soul, thou hast said unto the Lord, Thou art my Lord. My goodness extendeth not to thee, but the saints that are in the earth, and to the excellent in whom is all my delight.
Well, I wasn't planning on getting up today, but that last song we sang really touched my heart. That one line in it, all the times I could not see that your hand was holding me. Just every time I hear that song, I really love that line on it. And I was just thinking back over all the different ways that God works in our lives. Sister Misty was talking about it a little bit, and just the way that he's so intimately involved with us, and that he cares about the little things, and he cares about us, and he cares about our emotions, and he wants us to overcome them. He doesn't want us to just exist in that world, but he does care about helping us through the difficult things in life. And there are so many times in life that we might be going through something that we don't even see God's hand working, but afterwards we look back and we realize that's all that was holding us. We might not have known a situation, or we might not have known something was coming, but when we look back, we can see that his hand was what was holding everything together. And then I was also thinking about how thankful I am for the times that he lets us see that his hand is holding us, that we might be going through something and he is right there with us, and we do feel and see his presence in our lives, and that the different seasons and the different things that we go through, and how it helps us grow, and how it helps us trust, and the different things that might come into our life that cause us to seek him in a greater way, and that cause us to look for his presence, and that every time we look, he is always willing to reveal himself, and he is always willing to show us that he was there all the time. And that he is always there, whether we see it or whether we don't, and that we're where we are because of him. We're who we are because of him. And I'm just so appreciative of the Lord, so thankful to be in a place where we can feel his spirit, where we can come and just get washed in his presence, and just hear the testimonies and the songs and the messages. And I'm just appreciating each one of you, and just the place that we're in.
wasn't planning to get up, but a lot of the testimonies really related to how this trip went for me in Honduras, and how you really don't see exactly where God is taking you, but that you can know that He's holding on to you and putting you in the right direction, and just waiting on Him to see what He's going to do. And there's just not enough time to describe just how good He is and all that He's done to lead me up to this point in my life. But I'm thankful for the Lord and how He works, and His thoughts are not our thoughts, and His ways aren't our ways, and it's just amazing how God does work. And I'm thankful for everything that has happened in my life, everything. When I first went to the trip and saw Freddie for the first time, I didn't feel anything. It was super awkward, and I really thought God had closed the door. And at the same time, I was exhausted and really tired from helping with the wedding. And, it was all these thoughts going in my mind that, oh, okay, I really thought this was finally, I thought this was it. And I remember after meeting him for the first time and dealing with all of that the next morning that I was praying and reading scriptures, and I thought of that song, I have been blessed. I have been blessed. God is so good to me. And I looked through my life, and I thought, you know what, God? There are a lot of 30-year-olds that cannot look at their life and see that they're fulfilling every dream that they had written down in a vision, or not maybe written down, but in their mind of what they always wanted to do. That my whole life I grew up thinking I wanted to be on the mission field. And I looked around it. I was praying in the sanctuary in Guaymaca, and I thought, this is it. This is what I always dreamed of doing. This is what I thought I saw God doing with my life. And here I am, and not just the physical part, but looking at what I was before and where I am now in the Lord. And that, I'm not fighting submission anymore. I'm not fighting playing the role of a woman in God's kingdom, and that so many fight that, and the more you fight it, the more discontent you are. But to celebrate and love being a woman in the body of Christ, and being in that role that God has given me, and using my gifts in a womanly role in the body of Christ, and celebrating it, loving it, and being content in it. And in that moment I thought, okay, God, if you're shutting the door on Freddie, then you're shutting the door. That's okay, because you have given me so many other wonderful things, and a contentment to just keep living my life as a single person, and knowing that I can live the rest of my life content and happy, doing all these wonderful things for you, single. And that continued for several weeks, resisting, because I thought God was saying no and keeping the door shut. And I don't know what happened. I don't know why God was leading it that way. It was like God was saying no, the door's shut, start to kind of drift away. Being at peace with that, and then suddenly, I don't know what happened, but it just suddenly turned into another direction, into where I was starting to spend more time with him, that God wasn't saying no, and that, and I don't know what happened. I just know it was God, that he turned it around, and he started to, he's just started to open the door more and more in the right way, to where finally, I opened up to Freddie that the thought of getting married scared me to death, and that, that's a serious commitment, and that he just reassured me in the right way, and his character, his godly, his spirituality, and very spiritual man, and the character he had even before he was serious in the church, really, that in stories that I heard, and just suddenly just seeing that door open more and more to where one night in La Ceiba, he was talking about plans for us, and that plans of being together and building a school in Honduras, and they were all wonderful plans. And I was like, and finally, he finally got down to it being a direct question, will you be my wife? And for a minute I did hesitate. There was a split second I hesitated, and then it was like God was saying, go for it. And so I said, yes, I will be your wife. And to suddenly be my life, sometimes, it just takes me back. It surprises me. And I'm just thankful for the Lord. I'm thankful that every time Freddie and me are together, it's almost like one of us says that the Lord has done so many wonderful things for us. And I'm just thankful to have this spiritual relationship. And that, I'm also thankful for how God used me up to this point, that I'm not marrying to escape something. I'm not marrying to make my life, my life will be better in my mind that, that I'm getting married, but it's a different kind of better. It's just that I was always moving forward as single, and I'm still moving forward in a marriage life in a new way, with Freddie being my husband. And I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful for it all, and again, blown away by the goodness of the Lord. I guess I just didn't think I ever deserved it, and shut the door on it. And a part of me is glad that I did that, because it made me content while I'm single. I would say to all these that are single that you don't miss what you don't know. And I didn't know things that I do now being engaged, and I'm glad I didn't know them, because they made me single. They made me content while I was single, and I thank the Lord for his goodness in that. I think that's one of the goodnesses of the Lord, is that there are times he doesn't let us know something so we don't miss it. And he's very merciful, I think, in that. And it helps us to get the job done too. And then I'm thankful for how when it does come time that he says yes, that he opens that door, and all the things you thought you would struggle with. I thought I would struggle including a man in my life. I thought I would struggle, making sure that I missed him, making sure that I included him, making sure that, being submissive to him and everything, and opening the door to saying yes to engagement. Haven't had any problems with that so far. I do miss him. I am ready to be sharing a home with him, and I'm just so thankful for the goodness of the Lord. When the